Hi, so as I said, I've never made videos before, but I am slowly learning. I am learning. And I've realised some of it might be a little of the previous videos might be a little bit out of focus, but I've worked out how to do it now. So my apologies if the picture quality is a little bit varied, ladies and gentlemen. Right, so this is my dried watercolour, my dried little square, and you can see boop, 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 a little bit of shiny on there. That's the masking fluid now. It's all lovely and dry. Is it going to work, Erica? Oh, we don't know till we try. So I'm going to start off this time by, actually, I'm going to start with the beach. And I'm going to use that yellow ochre. So I'm going to gently paint that onto my, start my beach. It's not my beach. It's everybody's beach, Erica. So I'm going to just pull that up a little bit so that it's got that nice, if you remember our reference photo, yes, that's right, I'm going to bang on about triangles again. You'll see it's got this triangle, which is really helpful to us for placing our objects, marking out our lines. So I'm going to put in that yellow ochre, and then I'm going to add just a little bit of a lighter yellow. Let's lay that over there. Okay. Next, I'm actually going to do my sky. So I'm going to do my sky in the cerulean blue. I'm using quite a bit of water. I'm just going to drag that across there. I'm going to try not to put, what I'm going to try and do is, remember when we did the dry brushing, I'm going to try and lift any excess paint, but it does soak in very quickly there. Painting. You know, it is lovely, isn't it? How your brain goes all... I don't know if everyone does this, but I do feel an enormous sense of happiness when I am painting. Right, so next I'm going to put that aquamarine in. So that's a bit of blue and a bit of green. Where's that? So I'm going to put that in towards the front of my image. And I've decided I might actually cheat and put some acrylics in with this. So there's my wave. You can just see it because remember I marked it out with the soft pastels. And then I'm going to get a deeper blue, so an ultramarine, and a bit more water on that, Erica Matthews. Okay. And I'm going to really try and darken that area at the back and try not to have a wobbly horizon. No one wants a wobbly horizon, Erica. Okay. And then a little bit darker here. So with the watercolours, I always go quite gently, but the thing is, I always think with watercolours as well, is after a couple of days, once they've sort of rested a little bit, I always think the images really start to come to life. So I need to let that dry now, and then once it's dry, a little bit darker there, I think. And then once it's dry, I can start peeling off the masking fluid. If you try and peel off the masking fluid when it's wet, you will come a cropper. So the thing with masking fluid is don't paint on it when it's wet because you will come a cropper, and don't try and lift it when the paint is still wet, you will come a cropper. I'm just going to lift it up there and have a look. Let's see, is that, yeah, that is all masking fluid there. Is that masking fluid there? Let me get my brush and have a look. So I don't want to, well, that's white there in the image, but I'm going to just put a little bit of blue around here. And I'm just going to shake. Because what you want to do is, even though there's masking fluid in there, you want to get in there. Get in there. I'll lift that up a little bit. You might not see it a bit better. So you can really see the newspaper lines, and it looks, I don't know, I quite like that. And the red, see that red coming through there? It looks wrong, but to me, it looks really right as well. Right, next, we're going to let this dry, and then we'll come back to it. So my painting is dry now, and you might notice that it has the value of the colour, the luminosity of the paint has diminished somewhat, and that is what happens with watercolours. So someone once told me, an art teacher once told me, that with watercolour, when you get your perfect paint on the paper, you can then expect it to reduce its value by about 50%. So that's why I think with watercolours, glazing and lots of layers can really help to build that luminosity back up. So you can still see some shiny. I haven't pulled off my what have I not pulled off? I've not pulled off the masking fluid yet. I'm going to take a little brush and just put in some ultramarine. I'm going to darken some areas now. So I have got a bit of a wonky horizon, but you know, whatever. We all have a wonky horizon some days. So I'm just going to start putting in some details. I'm not going to put in much green with this one. I'm also not really going to look at the reference picture. I'm just going to kind of create something that I like. Me. So, because that is what it's about, you know. It's about just going with your instincts sometimes and creating. So I'm just moving that paint down towards the shore. Now I have noticed that so it almost looks like I've got two waves coming into shore there. Now what I'm not going to be able to do is I've not left enough white, I think, here. I haven't put enough masking fluid in. So once I lift the masking fluid, I'm probably going to put some white acrylic on there. So now I've darkened it, and to be honest with you, I'm not going to do much more to that. I maybe put a little bit of orange on the beach, or a darker, because I was using the yellow ochre, but I might actually go for a little bit of just put a little bit of an orangey orange, not too orangey orange. No, that's great. It's great, okay. Just to sort of tease out some shapes in the sand. There we go. So what day? I made the video on Saturday, the first video, and it's, what is it? It's Wednesday today. Right, so that's, what is that? Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. That's 5 days of drying. And I particularly like the sky. I like the strips, even though they don't make sense, and it's weird because that image there almost looks like a sail without trying. So there you go. Right now, I'm going to peel my masking fluid. Imagine if it doesn't work. I'll be gutted. So you can peel it off with if you've got nails, you can peel it off with your fingers. I will say some artists, rather than using masking fluid, what they actually do is they use an eraser. They wait till the watercolour is really, really, really bone dry, and then they get an eraser on it. Ooh. I don't know what's happening, but something's happening. So you need to make sure you lift it all off, because you can't. We can paint over it, but it looks weird. It goes a bit bobbly, wobbly. There we go. Pulling that off there. Oh, ripped my newspaper. Careful, custard. Oh, that looks quite. That is actually looking not bad. Try not to lift that paper too much. So you can get these little pliers, like tweezers with a flat edge, but I'm not that dainty. I don't know if you've guessed, having met me. Okay. That's kind of interesting. A little bit more down here. So I'm just gonna bit there. Now the other thing is don't do it with dirty hands if you're doing it this way, because you will rub colour into the white that you've left behind. I'm just gonna give that a bang. There we go. There are my waves. So I've got a little bit of an area here that I just want to tidy up. So I'm going to put some, but I love this light blue, the way that's come out. That's very cheerful. Right, get my paint. Clean my brush. Get my cerulean blue. Actually, I'm going to get my wipe cloth. Just test that before I put it on. No, not that blue. So I'll just show you. That's my test, and I don't like that. It's not the right blue. So back in, have a play. That's too dark. Maybe I will go for a bit more of a green. Yeah, there we go. It's the green. So I'm going to just take the top off that wave. And maybe a little bit of darker. And then here, what I'm going to do is take a really light. So in the sea spray, I'm going to just put in some little, just break it up a little bit more than it already is. And then I am going to go for, so under the crest of the wave, you get a natural shadow just under here. I'll just add a little bit. right with the very tip of my brush, hardly putting any paint on, but it just gives us that shadow. And then a little bit, but with the darken it, but I want the green on that one. I'm going to put some water on that, just drag that down. So with this, because the newspaper is so, I can't remember the words, the newspaper is so porous. That's a big word, Erica. So it just sucks the water in. I'll just put a little bit of something there. Well, I must say I do quite like that. Right, so now I need to do my, oh, pardon me, my white acrylic. I don't know if everyone walks around with a bottle of white acrylic in their bag for emergencies. Don't have money on me, but I always have white acrylic. There you go. So what I'm going to do though is actually I'm just going to put a wash of that blue on the sand here, and that'll be dry in about 20 seconds. And then over that wash, I'm going to start putting in my sea foam. And that's very white. So you see, actually, that's quite a good example of what I was saying about true watercolours. Is actually one of the lovely things about using masking fluid is the white you get tends to be less in your face, and that's quite a highlight. But sea foam just always looks so clean. Just gonna put some water on that. That's too white. So balance. That's gonna throw my balance off. Just drag that around a bit. There we go. There. And that's it. I'm done. I'm not going to do anything more with that. I like it the way it is. It's quite simple. And sometimes I think that's all you need. It's a little simple thing. Okay.